Okay, it's quite a topical issue recently, so we need to fucking talk about pronouns. Pronouns are words which take the space of a noun, so instead of saying the clunky sentence, Holly went to the shop and Holly bought a can of drink, you could say, Holly went to the shop and they bought a can of drink.
Well, yeah, but that example sentence sounds awfully forced. Can of drink? Sounds terrible.
You would say they because I use they, them pronouns.
I use they, them pronouns also because I understand how English works. Oh, you mean in reference to yourself. I see what you're doing here.
Let's get down to the fucking basics.
Can we make it quick? I've got a lot of porn to watch.
You use the pronouns that someone wants you to use that correspond with the gender they identify as.
Wrong. I make assertions based on one's observable characteristics. If I'm unable to, then I will use a neutral pronoun. The thing is, they and them are third-person pronouns, so if I'm using them, you probably won't be involved in the conversation I'm having. If I were you, I'd be less worried about whether I called you a he or a she, and more worried about the other shit I'm talking about you.
I'm personally agender.
I think I'm being fooled by your dialect, and you quite literally mean that you are agenda, and given some of the shit you guys cry about, I would have to agree. On another note, I'm more surprised to hear you don't identify as a fucking cow. Hey Betsy, do you need a bell to go with that nose hardware?
I use they, them pronouns. To use other pronouns for me is just fucking wrong. They, them isn't my preferred pronouns, they are my pronouns. If you're not using them, you're just referring to me incorrectly.
Claiming to be something doesn't make it true. As an example, I was born a biological male. If I were to exhibit feminine traits, it wouldn't make me a woman, it would make me get this, a feminine male. In order to accommodate these circumstances, I could ask you to refer to me as the supreme overlord of the universe, but that does not change my DNA, and neither would sexual reassignment. By the way, the only thing that would change if I had a vagina would be the amount of time I spent in my room, which, for the record, would be all of it.
You wouldn't refer to the cis guy you went to high school with as she, because obviously he doesn't use she, her, hers pronouns.
No, that's not why I wouldn't call him a she. I wouldn't call him a she because I'm not a moron.
And just as using the wrong pronouns for someone who is cis,
What's cis?
meaning cisgender,
Well, that's a nice round way of putting it.
meaning identifying with the gender they were assigned at birth as,
Got it.
is offensive, it is even more offensive to transgender people. But why would it be more offensive?
I don't buy that. I'm more inclined to believe that misgendering someone who knows who they are and what they want would be infinitely more offensive than mislabeling someone who has no clue who they are or can't express themselves clearly. Unless it's more offensive to you because your skin is made of parchment paper, then yes, I agree.
It's a fucking act of aggression and disrespect against someone who probably already endures multiple acts of erasure, disrespect, and violence in their everyday life just because of how they identify and live.
I see your point. It's flawed, but I see it. It's not an act of aggression. In fact, for many, it's called old habits dying hard. For the rest, they're probably just tired of listening to this crap day in and day out and want to resist. Any more of this shit out of you, and I'll start calling you guys the gay feminist movement.
Okay? It's not okay. Let's take Caitlyn Jenner, for example, who recently just came out as trans and was on the cover of Vanity Fair, as everyone probably knows because it's a very hot topic right now. To refer to Caitlyn as anything other than she, her, herself is wrong, even if you're referring to her 20, 30 years ago.
Why is being logical wrong? If I'm referring to someone from the past named Bruce, I'm probably going to refer to him as he. If I'm referring to someone named Caitlyn in the present, I will probably refer to her as she. But since I don't spend a lot of time talking about her, I can't test this in reality. All I know is I have no more reason to cater to you than you have to me.
She is a she identifies as a she is always been a she. She is just only now allowed to actually identify and present that way.
Translation. Sexual reassignment has been in practice since 1931, but Caitlyn could only identify as a woman now because Keeping Up with the Kardashians didn't need a rating boost until just now.
Misgendering people through the implied gender of pronouns can be extremely hurtful.
Calling it how you see it, not trying to turn everything into a game of Guess Who, can be extremely hurtful to people trying to play a game that no one wants to play.
And cause extreme gender dysphoria in people.
Wrong, bitch, wrong! Misgendering people does not cause gender dysphoria, you fucking moron. Your gender dysphoria is what causes your anxiety. Gender expression is a coping tool to help alleviate some of the symptoms of gender dysphoria, not the other way around. I don't get hungry so that I can eat pizza. I use pizza to alleviate the symptoms of my empty stomach.
And guess what? You don't know if someone you have just met might be trans, might just use different pronouns, or might experience gender dysphoria.
If they don't experience gender dysphoria, then they aren't relevant. You know what happens when I try to get cheap drinks at the bar by claiming to be a woman? My gay friend calls me a huge fucking faggot. Have you ever been called a faggot by a gay guy? It kinda stings a little bit.
You don't know that. So, guess what you do to avoid gendering them? You use neutral pronouns. Wow, who would have thunk it?
Nope, I use male or female pronouns because they make sense and I don't go out into the world to play Schrodinger's gender identity with you fucking people.
The most common pronouns which are considered neutral are they, them, their, themselves. Before you jump in with, but them is plural, you use that to refer to more than one person. No, you don't always. It can also be singular. Fucking ask a linguist. You're wrong.
Hey, Holly? Your straw man is showing. You should probably put that away.
You probably already use they, them as a singular pronoun, you just don't realize it. Imagine your friend just got off the phone with a doctor, and you don't know who their doctor is. You would say, oh no, what did they say? There we go, you just used it singularly.
Wow, you didn't just burn that straw man, you took a shit in the ashes and then killed his fucking dog. Anyway, the word they has been regarded as a plural pronoun since the 14th century, and until very recently was only used informally for the sake of convenience. Even though it's a mouthful, what did he or she say would have been the grammatically correct phrase. However, English is constantly evolving, so I have no problems using they as a neutral alternative. Of course, this argument hurts your cause because you guys have jilled off on Tumblr for the last umpty years picking out baby names for yourselves on the grounds that these words don't fit grammatically in all situations. By your logic, though, they would. So shit like z, zer, and air, totally fucking pointless.
Things not to do that goddamn s-he, she, he thing. That's just silly and incorrect and offensive.
Holy shit, is there anything you don't find offensive? Just a friendly tip from me to you. Just the tip. You know that big red button that says do not push? Well, if you spend your time making a diagram of all of your big red buttons and then publish it online, you are fishing for trolls. I don't know if that's something you want to catch, is it?
Or use it. Some people might use it pronouns, but normally it's considered extremely dehumanizing and really awful because guess what? People aren't objects.
But it is highly offensive and should not be used. If you have ever accidentally surprised someone and said, it's just me, there we go. Back to your original point.
People aren't objects.
By definition, an object is something that is capable of being seen or touched. We can conclude based on that assertion that we are all objects. Claim refuted, bitch!
Now you might be going, oh, but if I'm supposed to not gender people, how do I know what gender they are and how to refer to them? Guess what? You ask them?
My question to you is why do I have to tiptoe around and ask everyone's gender identity on the off chance that I run into someone from 0.3% of the population?
Don't just say, are you a boy or a girl? Because some people are neither.
Bullshit, no one is neither.
And also, that might be none of your fucking business. But you can start out by saying, hi, sorry, what pronouns do you use?
And I will say it again. I don't plan on playing Schrodinger's gender identity with every fucking person I talk to in the street. If you want to be referred to as they or dildo nuts McFuckstick, then that's fine. I'll be happy to do that. I'm not gonna do something else just to be a dick. But if you're that picky about it, wear a name tag. Not to mention, have you ever actually tried talking to half of the fucking idiots out there? This is what I imagine it would be like. Oh, hello. I'm Sardonic. What's your name?
I'm Jimmy.
Well, hello there, Jimmy. Let's give this a try. What are your preferred pronouns?
My what?
Your preferred pronouns?
What's a pronoun?
Well, a pronoun is a word that
I
takes
do like bananas.
the space
I don't
of a
like
noun.
pronouns very much, but I do like bananas. And oh, what's this? Is this a pronoun?
Jimmy, that's a window.
Oh my!
No, Jimmy, that's a window.
Pronouns are delicious.
If they don't understand what you're saying, good chance to give them a little education in transgender issues.
So what you're saying is that when you come across the blissfully ignorant, you have to stoop to dragging them kicking and screaming into bullshit non-issues? Sounds terrible. Instead, I'm going to approach you and ask if you'd thought of putting me in your mouth today. And when you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to educate you on why you should put me in your mouth. It's the same fucking thing. The only difference is I actually have something to gain.
Asking people's pronouns should definitely be common etiquette. And what do you do if you misgender someone? Just quickly apologize and correct yourself, as you would do with one of your cis friends.
If anyone misgendered one of their cis friends, chances are they did it on purpose and wouldn't apologize. Your point is invalid.
Okay, I've got to go back to my life of being a terrifying trans person that's going to uproot the government and change marriage.
Cry to your friends on Tumblr, try to propagate more gender spectrum garbage, drag more innocent bystanders into your non-issues, grow a penis, make a sandwich. No doubt your day is going to be full of hardship.
Hope you're all having a lovely day. Hope you'll be nice in the comments. If you don't, I'll probably delete them.
Anyway, I'm gonna cut you off now, Holly. Let's level. Instead of talking about pronouns, I'm going to teach you how to be more beneficial to your own cause because I think your perspective may be skewed. If you want a true victory for transgender people, there are far more pressing matters to worry about than what people call you, so start with something else. And just a tip, from a straight, white, cis male, the more you try to indoctrinate people into your LGBT agenda, the more they are going to fight you. The only thing you are doing by constantly pushing your issues on everyone is making everyone less tolerant of your issues. Oh, and by the way, seriously, if it's such a big deal, consider name tags. Or maybe a bell.